All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we help content creators and entrepreneurs improve their mindset so that you can achieve more financial freedom, more life, more health, more wealth, more of all the good things that happen in life if you take good care of your mind. So, anyway, we have a really good one for you guys today. Ooh, let me tell you, this one will be special. I think they're all special. I might say that on all of them. So I hope that message isn't losing its potency. But we picked good topics for you guys, and today is one of them. Today, we have an AYQ episode for all of you, which, if you've never heard of that, great. They're so wonderful because it's where we answer your questions. As much as we love doing this podcast based on topics that we think you guys need to hear more about, it's even better when you just drop us a voice memo and say, hey, here's exactly what I need to learn more about. And so one of our listeners did that today. And if you're one of our listeners and you're like, oh, that sounds so cool and fun and amazing, and I just wish I could do that, you can. All you have to do is scroll down like the tiniest little bit from whatever you're listening on, just scroll down a little and hit the big button that says submit your questions here. And you can submit us a voice note. If you mess it up, don't worry. Just submit another. We won't play the one that you messed up. And tell us where you're from. I don't know if you love the show. Feel free to say that. We love hearing that. And tell us what you want us to talk about, or maybe your specific situation that you're like, guys, help. What do I do? Whatever the thing is, we'll do an episode for you as long as it's podcastable, which you guys do a really good job of presenting great questions. So feel free to get in on the fun, get your own episode made for free. Everything we do here is free. So all that we really ask is that you guys participate and show us some love. So anyway, let's get right into the question.
What's up, Nick? It's Garen. Wanted to follow up on something I asked you a few weeks ago on the Ask Anything call. Basically, how to find your voice and what you want to talk about and your audience. You know, it's a little different than niche because, you know, the message of being a no niche creator nowadays is really blowing up, and I think it's very empowering for people to not have a niche. But regardless, it's still very important to like know what type of content you want to make and know where you want to go, because like I told you, I have so many interests, like dating, the hair clippers, being on The Bachelorette, being a former TV reporter. What else is there? What else do I talk about? I also talk about, TV shows and movies and film. So yeah, just like finding your voice, finding what you want to talk about, packaging into it a nice, beautiful bow for people to consume. That's something that I think would be a great topic for you guys to dive into. And if you want me to clarify this more, let me know.
That is a good one. He's right. That is a really good topic for us to dive into. How to find your voice, which is a little different, like he said, than your niche. If you're a content creator or entrepreneur, your niche is a little bit more narrowed down. Like I picture, for example, with creators, like if you're like a golf creator, like that could be your niche. But your voice, that's a much more powerful question, how to find your voice. So, Michelle, I think there's a lot of places we can start with this, but I'm curious if you have any specific places that you're like, this is where I want to begin.
Not necessarily to begin it, but just wanted to say, like, the biggest, most simple thing to remember about your voice is that no one else has it. So finding your voice is just being in tune with who you are and what your perspectives are, because your unique situation, perspective, story, that is what makes up a voice. So just simplifying it to that as we begin this podcast episode of just like, remember that no one's been through exactly what you've been through. Nobody is exactly who you are and what you have values and beliefs in. And that is your voice. And then it's just up to you how you use it. And we'll get more into that in this episode. But yeah, I just wanted to simplify it. Like, just remember your voice is already in you. And it's not about like creating a voice. It's about like just remembering, discovering, and like really fulfilling who you already are in a creative way.
That's really well said. Yeah, we all have our own voice, and the only reason that like we have to make an episode on how to find your voice is actually because a lot of us have suppressed it.
Yeah.
So we have to like bring it out again. But in a way, like it can be this effortless thing where you just drop all fear of judgment and expectations and just lean into what life experiences have made you unique and what is the way that you show up in the world and sharing that with people. But we get very caught up in how we want other people to see us and how we want other people to remember us. And those things are important, especially as a content creator. Like it is important to give consideration to those, but they don't really help you find your voice. You already have your voice. It is this very unique thing. And it's also important to kind of note that it evolves a lot over time. Your life experiences are going to continue to mold you.
Yeah, and it's also again, just simplifying it, like, yes, I think we all kind of know what our voice is. And if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I found my voice, I know what my life experiences are. It's, I think, more so the strategy of like, hey, how do I translate that online? Because there's a balance of like, how much do I share? I don't want to overshare, I don't want to undershare. And so it's just kind of like, how do you find your voice online? Or how do you not find it? How do you translate it online?
Yeah, a good place to start. This worked really well for me, and I know it's worked well for other people, is kind of starting with like, what can you talk about endlessly that doesn't feel like work or a chore? Because for me, there's a lot of things that kind of fall into there, but like when it comes to like motivation, discipline, self development, things like that, I don't really get tired of talking about. Like I could always have a conversation with someone and like listen to their struggles and advise on it. That's kind of why we do this podcast, is because like we like to do that. And for me, like my voice, sure, like that's part of it, but it's like how I describe the actions that I recommend people take, the steps that I think they should go through, and how I help them have realizations. Like my style of communication is my voice and it's my zone of genius. And that is another topic that we're going to get into.
Yeah, you just said it. You're like how you communicate it. Like, for example, same as me, I could talk to people for hours on end about mindset and, just they're getting their thoughts right because your thoughts shape every part of your reality. But the way I do that in my content is I also love talking about editing and like, or filming, how to film this video. Here's how to do these creative angles. And in almost every single one of my behind the scenes tutorials, I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I give a motivational part in that tutorial where I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay. It's not supposed to be. You're supposed to enjoy it. Like, and I give mindset things in another part of my content. So I'm merging the two. I'm not just going on and being like talking to the camera like, you should not overthink your content. I'm like, no, here's how to do a video. Also, by the way, don't overthink it. Like that's my voice, right?
So it seems that we're saying it's kind of this combination of what you love to talk about endlessly, the way you communicate it, and also it helps to be living in your zone of genius, right? I mean, sure, you can get online and you can find your voice and you can talk about things that you're not an expert on, right? Maybe you're like sharing a journey of what you're going through and it's not your zone of genius and you're just using it as an outlet. That's okay. But I feel like it's a little bit easier to look at your zone of genius in combination of what do you love talking about? And there's probably a lot of overlap between those two things. Like my zone of genius is communicating and it's getting people to take action, whether that's on a sales call, getting someone to pull out their credit card and spend $25,000, or whether it's talking to someone that they're just unmotivated and they don't know like how to make their first ever TikTok video and they're scared. Like communicating and getting people to take action, that is my zone of genius. Combine that with the things I actually enjoy talking about, and boom, like that's Nick's voice right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to go a little bit deeper on this zone of genius thing? Because that might be that might be something that some of our listeners are like, I just don't know what my zone of genius is.
Do you want to ask me questions that can help me go deeper and also all of our listeners so they can ask themselves these questions too?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me try and throw you a good one here. Where do you start looking when trying to find your zone of genius?
What do I enjoy doing? I just ask myself, like, what is it that I like? Like, what is it that I like and that I'm good at? Or, like, what is it that other people come to me for or ask me about or say that I'm good at? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not good at that. It's not that I'm good at it. What is that thing? So it's kind of a combination of like all three of those things.
That's a good answer. Um, let's start to unpack the part about like where we're typically hiding this. I think that's where a lot of the answers lie. Um, what parts of yourself have you been hiding? That's a great place to look to find your voice, because for me, when I first decided like I was going to show up online, I just decided to like take my mask off and be like, this is who I really am. Like who I really am, like I've been hiding this, but like who I really am is like it's doing yoga by a candle at 6 p.m. on a Friday because I don't want to go out and drink and socialize. And it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday, like writing down a list of affirmations and things I love about myself. And it's like I was like a closeted self development geek. Like I love all things self development and seeing like how much life I could squeeze out of every day, out of every week, out of every year. Like how do I just constantly like keep raising the bar to become a better, more well-rounded, helpful, wealthy, healthy person? But I was hiding that. And in order to find my voice, one, I had to recognize that like my friends, my family, some of them kind of know that like I'm really into these things, but they don't know the extent. And I was like, I'm just going to start posting about it. Like I'm going to start with letting that part out of me, the part of myself that I've been hiding. I'm going to start and just let that out. And obviously that was like weird and not well received at first and made me uncomfortable. And I had tons of like friends and people unfollowing me and like questioning like if I've gone off the deep end. But eventually, like after enough, like truly speaking from my heart, I called in hundreds of thousands of people that want to hear what I have to say, and that made me feel validated that like my voice does matter. And it's hard when the part of you that you've been hiding is not well received at first, and it almost makes you want to be like, oh, I shouldn't have like shown this side of myself. But like no, that is the validation that you have found your voice and you're on the right path.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I'm trying to think of anything that I was ever like hiding. I don't know, because I've always kind of gone online and said whatever. But I think it's so funny because, I'm in acting class and there's this one role that someone else is doing, and she is playing the part of Marilyn Monroe. It's called Before the Fall. It's a play. And it's like Arthur Miller and Marilyn Monroe when she was innocent and naive and like before she, like, life hit her. And I didn't realize until the last few months how naive I just am. And I've said it before on the podcast, like it's a blessing because then I realize how the mind works and I'm like, I'm delusional enough to think it's going to work out for me. Like I just believe that with my whole being because I'm kind of like, I don't know, like that's just what it is. Like that's just what it is. And I didn't love that part of me. I would try to mask myself as this like I know things and like I'm strong and I'm whatever, which I am strong, but it's like I would mask that to try to make sure no one can like see that part of me. But then this role this girl's doing, it made me fall back in love with that side of me, because my older sister will tell you that is just who I am. Like, I've always been like that. She's constantly like, how do you not know these things? I'm like, I don't know. Now I know, but I didn't, you know? And so I've learned to love that, because it's part of how I'm wired. I think it's helpful for me, but it's also so relatable, and it's scary because people will, people online will say I'm dumb or like all these things, but it's like, you know what? This is who I am, and I can share that side of me, and I'll learn along the way, but also I just have such an innocent mind sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And so I think that's the biggest thing in the past few months that I realized I was masking. And my acting coach called me out on it. She's like, why are you afraid to be seen as this ditzy girl? And I like broke down in class, and I was like, I didn't realize I was afraid of that. And now I'm like unmasking that side of me. Not that I'm like wanting to come online as this like dumb person, but it's just kind of, it's it's like that video I posted. We've had a podcast where I said, did you guys know that TVs are measured diagonally, and not like, you don't measure it from left to right, you measure it diagonally. That's why my 16-inch MacBook fits inside my backpack. And people were like, you're so stupid. And some people were like, oh my God, I didn't know either. Thank you. So that's kind of an example where I'm like, I just don't know. And I don't want to be afraid to share these revolutionary things to me online, because I'm afraid somebody's going to call me stupid, you know?
That is such a perfect example. I was trying to think of that exact one actually. I was like, I know there was one of your pieces of content where you like posted, there's been many like that, where you post
Yeah.
something like vulnerable like that, and like that's you and that's your voice. And like, who gives a fuck whether you knew that or not? But a lot of people will suppress that, and they'll be like, my real voice is saying like, I just figured out how TVs and laptops are measured.
Yeah.
But like, all of our life experiences typically are like, maybe we shouldn't tell anyone that. And that's not the way. Like, you have to look authentically at what is going on in your life and in your mind, and sharing that. And you're going to be wrong sometimes. It's not going to be well received sometimes, but you're also going to call in people that are just like you and that resonate with your voice. And the reason I'm saying, and Michelle is saying, to do that and be authentic, is because it is exhausting to try and be someone you're not. And if you're not showing up authentically online and finding your voice, you're going to burn yourself out, because you're showing up as someone you're not, and it's not feasible, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's like me wanting to hide I had ADHD for the longest time, because I saw it as like, this is something that is a disorder. Like, it's a mental disorder. Like, I don't want to be seen as somebody who's not having her shit together kind of vibes. And then I'm like, as soon as I started actually admitting that to people, it's like people started coming into my life that are like, oh my gosh, I have it too. What have you done that's helped you? Here's what's helped me. And it's like, oh, like, this isn't a weakness that I have. It's it can be a superpower. And also, I'm not the only one on earth who has this. And also, let me figure out ways to like really maximize this superpower to help other people. And now I will scream it from the rooftop that I have it, because I'm like, look where I'm at. It doesn't matter if you have this. You can still get places. You can still thrive with this. And so it's just one of those other things where it's like, what are you afraid to show or admit or reveal?
I had no clue how many people had ADHD until I started spending many hours per week with you. And everyone everywhere all the time is like, yeah, like I have like ADHD too. And I'm just like, there's a lot of people out there that have ADHD.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that if it wasn't for you. And those people probably wouldn't be comfortable sharing that if you didn't share it yourself first and create a space for them to come to you and be like, I relate to that. And I can think of like, I remember the first time I felt validated in my content in real life. Cause like sometimes people would say nice things online, for the most part, not quite. Um, but anyway, when I first started posting, one of my friends, I'm not too close with him, but like he's a little bit older than me. I won't say his name. Um, but anyway, saw him out at a bar, haven't seen him in a while, and he came up to me and he was like, "Dude, I just got to tell you, like, I've been loving your content. Like, I actually read that same book and I do that same thing every single morning and it like changed my life." And I was like, "Dude, no way. Like, I have never seen you in that light at all. Like, I'm super shocked and surprised, probably as much as you were surprised at me." And like, we just had this moment of connection where I was like, he never would have commented that and validated me, but like my content was making him feel seen and heard. And then I happened to see him, and then all of a sudden it comes out. And that was the first moment that I was like, okay, I literally have 34 followers, but like, I am, in a way, I'm making a difference. And what I'm doing is I'm calling in more authentic connections in my own life. Because now, like, me and him, we have a much different connection, like on a much different level. And all of a sudden now he's like making content and on an entrepreneurial journey himself. And it's just very interesting to like have caught that early, because I was just showing up as myself and seeing what happens. And you don't always get that validation from people, but I'm telling you, your impact is probably 100 times bigger than you'll ever actually be told.
Yeah, and it's very important too, if you do discover something or you want to get more into something, it might be jarring for people that are really close to you if it's something new. So, if you're not getting validation from those around you, don't take that as this isn't something you should be doing, because it's just a different side that they're not used to. And so, that's why I love social media, because my people online have helped me become more confident and validated in the way I'm wired and in what I'm capable of. And it's just like, there are times where my family's like, I don't recognize you. Like, who are you? And it took time, but I'm like, I appreciate that. Like, that's okay. You'll learn. I'm learning too. And so little things like Evan loves metal music, and I still will never understand that. But I love how much he loves it, and that he has never let my not love for it stop him from his love for it, if that makes sense. Like, yesterday he came home and he was like, I was thinking in the car today about how my dad, his pastor, therapist, father, he's the most soft spoken, kind, calm person ever. He would go to metal concerts with Evan all the time when we lived in Louisiana. And Evan was like, I'm so grateful he would do that. It's not like he likes metal music, but he would go for me. And that's like, if you don't have someone like that in your life that's validating these things that you're into or that you like doing, then don't take that as you shouldn't be doing them. Just take that as there are other people, but maybe you need to show up and be honest with what you're into and what you like doing so they can find you.
Yeah, it's so. I almost said it's true. It's so true. My former catchphrase, if you go listen to episodes like 1 through 60. But anyway, it's really special to show up as your true self, not just online, but in life, and see who you really call in. Because when you're wearing a mask and you're not showing up as your true self, you're calling in people that you don't really resonate with all that much. But when you show up as your true self and you start like making friends and finding people that have similarities, all of a sudden, like, you can have such deep, meaningful connections with people that you're meeting for the first time. Like, at this point in my life, I connect with people very, very easily. But because I show up as my true self, I know who I actually enjoy connecting with almost immediately,
Mm-hmm.
because they hit me with the same energy back. Like, I can mold myself into any social situation and be fine. But the people I really love are the ones that like they get me, and they get me because I'm being real and I'm being myself, and that is not that easy of a thing to do,
Yeah, I
but
want to
it's
say too,
necessary.
you don't want to you don't want to put on the mask and have people love you for who you're not, because then you're going to be stuck being that person, and you will feel like they won't love me unless I'm this way or unless I'm this person. And so you're just doing yourself harm by doing that. And so that's why it's so important to show up as yourself and like know your values, which comes from what are you believing in? What are your values? That's where your voice comes in, because you don't want people to fall in love with someone you're not. You don't want to make content that caters to someone. You want to make content that you love and that you enjoy so your people can find you. It's so backwards in how people used to say like how to market yourself. It's so backwards from what it was 2 years ago, because people realize like, oh, being fake and like not being myself, I lose myself and then I go into some crazy like depression or burnout, and it's just not healthy or sustainable.
There's a lot of people online that post political content, and political accounts, excuse me, political accounts do really well online because you could just show up on this one side and call in all the people. And I hate political content and I hate politics, but it's a really good example of how when you show up with your voice, those that align will come. They will come find it and they will come resonate with it. And it will also piss off people that don't think the same. So I'm not saying everyone should go post political content. I think that would be awful. But it's a really good, simple example of like, let's just say there were two sides. You have this voice and you stand for that, or you have this voice and you stand for this. It becomes very easy to just find your people and piss off the other people. And that's a great way to grow online. But it's obviously not that simple. We know it's so much more complicated than that. There's a good Colin Kaepernick quote that I think helps this land. Your voice isn't just what you say, it's what you consistently stand for, even when it's uncomfortable.
That's good. Yeah.
That's a good quote. What you stand for, people will feel that in your content. They very much will. Are you out there, like maybe you sell health related products, but do you really stand for health? We will feel it. We will very much feel it in how well studied you are, in how healthy that you actually are as an individual. Like everything, your voice is not just the things you're saying and that come out of your mouth. Like it's who you are at a super deep level, and we can feel it. And we can feel when people are not authentic online. That's why we often see people that make content that just feels like an ad or a commercial, and we're like, I don't believe you. Like that content, that's not going to work. Like you got to really show up as you online and you got to make me feel what you're saying. And I need to know what you stand for and I need to believe it and I need to believe in it.
Yeah, it's just as important to know what you stand for, to know also what you don't. So, a good example of this is like yesterday, one of my video editors put together a post and it sounded a little passive aggressive in one part. And I was like, like I know this is like the trend, but that isn't me. Like, I wouldn't say something in that way. And like earlier, I was saying, I am naive, but I wouldn't come on and be like, self-deprecating like it's a bad thing. I would come online and be like, look, like it takes me a little longer to understand things, but once I get things, I really understand them way more in depth than a lot of people, but it takes time, and that's just how I'm wired. So it's like, what kind of way are you shaping your voice through what is your voice and also what is not? What do you not want people to see you doing? Because you would never do that. Like, I would never be self-deprecating or put myself down or call myself stupid. Like, I would never do that, because I think words are powerful. And so I like to be more uplifting and more positive. And so that needs to be reflected in every piece of content that I make. And when I see something that's off, now I know, ding, 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 red flag, change that. That is not me. As before, when I was discovering and kind of learning and seeing what other people come online as, I wasn't really sure, So it takes time, but it's like you need to ask yourself, would I say something like this or not? Just as much as, what do I believe in and all that.
It does take time. It's a journey. It's a journey of self discovery and continuous learning and evolution, because you're going to you're going to face quite a lot showing up authentically in life, in content. You're going to have a lot of looks in the mirror and a lot of people question you that make you like think twice about what you're sharing, and you're going to evolve a lot as a person. Something else that helps. I'm bringing the quotes today. I got a couple. Uh, LeBron James. LeBron James says, "Don't try to be all things to all people. Be everything to somebody, and the right audience will find you when you're authentically yourself.
Yep.
And I think that is such a bar because, like, yes, we very much preach, like, you don't have to have a niche. You can post whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but, like, you can't be all things to all people. I promise you, you cannot. And if you could be everything to somebody, you'll bring in more somebodies, a lot more somebodies. The world is so much bigger than we think. Like, I know so many people that are like, I can't find my voice because I'm like, I'm I'm too niche. I'm too this. I'm too down this rabbit hole. And it's like, that's ideal. That's that's a wonderful scenario. If you really are like gifted at speaking about or your or involvement in a certain topic, if you can go really deep on that, that can be a wonderful, wonderful thing. Whether that is your mission, your niche, your zone of genius, the things you love talking about, like whichever it is, if you can go really deep on that and really be yourself, you will call in people just like you. But if you're really surface level on everything, you're not really, it's probably not very true to you and it's not going to feel true to anyone else.
Yeah, gosh, I'm like thinking of so many things right now, but that quote's really good because I used to always say when I used to post content that was more motivational before we did the podcast. Um, I would always say just post for one person. Like, just do it for the one person that might need this. Don't address them like, hey, y'all, like, don't make it like broad. Like, do each piece of your content or whatever you're doing, think of one person you're doing it for. Like, for example, my YouTube videos that I was trying to crank out, I've been distracted, but like my YouTube videos, I know my 9-year-old niece watches my YouTube. So I'm like, I'm doing these room transformations or unboxings for her. Like, she's gonna see this. And so I have her in mind whenever I'm making this, and I'm doing it for her. And then, no, I don't want to attract other 9-year-olds, but like I know that that's my voice. And so it's like, if I have one person in mind I'm doing something for, then I'm like, okay, everyone else that wants to see this kind of content will come.
That's really powerful. That kind of brings up like another avenue we can go down of like, who do you love to spend time around? And what do they want to hear? Like, what is it that they need? Because sometimes thinking about that, like, sometimes taking the pressure off of yourself and like having to like really go deep on you can be difficult. And it helps to just look around you and be like, well, who do I love to spend time around? I love to spend time around my friends and go to Jets games. Okay, so I love the Jets. I love talking sports with my friends. Maybe that's a thread to pull. And it's like, maybe I'm supposed to be making like sports content, like, because I want to call in people that want to talk about sports because I love talking about sports. I love hanging out with people that talk about sports. And sometimes that can be a great thread to pull to try and discover some of these things. I think that's temporary. Like, realistically, you can't avoid that deep introspection that really will pull out like the most authentic version of yourself. But it's a great place to start. And your 9-year-old niece story reminded me that like just looking around at like, who do you wish you were surrounded by, and what do you need to who do you need to how do you need to come across to bring those people in so you're surrounded by the people that you want to be surrounded by, so you can talk about the things you love talking about, so you can be a genius because you're hopefully a genius in that area or working to become one.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when I said like my 9-year-old niece, the reason I say that and it makes it easier for me is it takes the pressure off of me having to have everything perfect because I'm like, she's going to enjoy my lifestyle. Like, she's never been to my LA apartment. So I'm like, oh, she doesn't know what it looks like. She doesn't see like a day in my life. Like, she loves seeing that because she's not used to that. And I have to say, like, her love for that is the same for a 30-year-old woman's love for watching my day in the life, because I love watching other people's day in the life, their lifestyle. Where are they eating? What are they doing? What are they thinking? What did they just get for Mother's Day? Like, I have all of these things I love consuming. And so for me, it's hard and more pressure when I'm like, okay, well, I've got to make all this content so other women enjoy it. But instead, if I'm like, I'll make this because I know my 9-year-old niece will watch it, and one view is worth every single second of my time to make this piece of content, then I know like because she has like the soul of a 30-year-old woman. She's very mature for her age. Like she's seriously, I forget she's 9, but it takes the pressure off. So that's another thing too. It's just like what are you maybe overthinking whenever you're wanting to share your voice, or who do you think you're sharing it for? And try to think of one person that will love it no matter how perfect it is, just because it's what you want to share. And then that to me frees me up to just make the piece of content.
That's a great little mindset tool to free yourself up, because what I'm picturing is like two scenarios. One, your YouTube video is so polished and so perfect, and you cut out every little thing that makes it imperfect or authentic, and people don't feel like they relate to you. They don't feel like they know you. Or the other side, like she would probably love to see, like, you spilled your coffee like while you were recording this, like, and this is just like a crude example, but like if you clean things up too much, you take the authenticity out of it.
Yeah.
Versus like she would probably love to see Michelle spill a coffee or say something funny, or your southern accent kind of sneaks out in a word and you left it in. That would make her watch this and be like, I can't believe like that's my aunt. Like that's so her. Like I'm loving this. I feel like I'm in the room with her. But
Mm-hmm.
if you kept it so clean and so over edited, inauthentic that she doesn't feel you, then you're not finding your voice and people are not going to receive it or relate to it.
Yeah, because there's a ton of aesthetic content, but that's why in my behind the scenes, I'm always showing if I drop something, if I forget to record, like I'm just honest. I'm brutally honest because I'm like, look, I am not perfect. Like it looks like I am in the edited version, but I'm not. And I like a lot of my followers came from those kinds of videos I used to post because I'm just showing up as I am in real life, and it just attracts everyone to you. But it's terrifying to be that vulnerable and to be that seen, because when you're vulnerable, it's so beautiful, but people can get in there and like maybe impact you negatively. So you have to be careful. But thankfully Garen is an actor and a comedian, and he has experience. Garen, the guy, the AYQ answer that we're answering, so he knows more than some about just like not letting that get to you. But I just know that is the major holdup for so many people from starting a business, doing something new, showing up online, is because of those other voices that aren't affirming who they are.
And it might even be harder for Garen because of like how diverse his life experience is. Like that might be part of the struggle, is that he's like, I've got this, I've got that, I could do this, I could
So
do
do I.
that. But like I want Garen to ask himself, like, what's underneath all of that? Like what's really in there that makes you Garen and enables you to show up in so many different places in such amazing and authentic ways. Somewhere in there is your voice and how you show up online. Because yeah, like you were saying, you were pointing at yourself and you're like, so do I do so many things. And you know that your voice is not really tied to one of those things so much. It's like the foundation that allows you to do all of them. Like it comes from so deep inside you, just being so authentically you and so innocent and naive, yet at the same time incredibly intelligent and hardworking. Like it's a combination of all of these things, and it's hard to put words to it. And it's easier to just like take off the armor, just be like, here I am. Like here is me. Here's what I think. Here's what I have to say. Y'all do what you want with it, because this is the real me.
Yeah, and the more you share, the more empowered you'll feel to keep sharing. So I will say that it's not easy, especially in the beginning, to do that, to take off the armor, to just show up. But I'm telling you, it is the answer to everything. It is. And if you feel like you're not in a healthy place to show up, then get your mind right. Like our mindset, I said it earlier, it just shapes every part of our reality. How we respond to things out of our control, it dictates everything. And so it's like do something, and then if you feel some resistance, figure out if it's worth tapping into that or if you need to push through the resistance. And that is a daily struggle for me. Like, that is every single day I'm dealing with this back and forth, but you get better at it and it gets way easier whenever you go through it. But you can't like allow yourself to get distracted or keep consuming mindset things like this without actually doing the work. Like, you have to be amidst the chaos and choosing positive thoughts and affirming yourself and letting yourself like feel what you feel, but push past any negative self what is it called when you don't believe in yourself?
Self-confidence,
No, it's like whenever you have,
self-doubt.
I mean, yeah, self-doubt, but there's a word for it where a lot of people have self-sabotaging thoughts. Kind of that vibe. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm not sure. I know like there's a specific one you were thinking, but anyway, I definitely get what you're saying. Um, I got one last quote, probably a great one to start to wrap up on. Aaron Rodgers quote, my favorite athlete probably. When you finally find your authentic voice, it won't feel like you've discovered something new. It'll feel like you've remembered something you've always known.
So good.
Really good quote by Aaron Rodgers. And he's a controversial character because he kind of came out with his authentic voice like 5 years ago during COVID, and he was really much like he was very much against a lot of the COVID things and rules and mandates that were happening. And he was standing out against them and used his platform to be like, here's who I really am. Like, I believe our bodies are equipped with everything that they need to protect against things like this that are in fact serious. But like, this is what I believe. And no one's changing that belief. And I'm not following any mandates, just for the record. And he got a lot of heat for that, but he also called in a lot of people that now connect with him on a much deeper level. And funny enough, like, turns out he was right about quite a lot of things. Like, now there's a lot of things coming out that validated what he was saying and believing at the time. And it's not about like who's right or wrong, because you're going to be wrong a lot of the time too. But regardless, he wasn't about to compromise his beliefs to show up on a place that is publicly televised and be like, yep, I compromised my beliefs. I did everything you guys said to. I'm good to go. Let's play football. Like, he was like, no, I'm taking a stand, and I'm going to take this stand publicly because I have the chance to do it. And this is who I am. And this is what I believe. And that was quite the evolution for him. And that was probably very difficult, probably much more difficult than like me showing up on TikTok talking about meditation, when my friends are judging me. Like, there's levels to this. It's going to be harder for some people than others, but truly, like, it's already in you. That's why he said it's going to feel like remembering something, not discovering something. So that's why a theme over our last like 8 episodes, kind of a recurring theme has been like, you can't just listen to this podcast. Like, you have to also sit quietly with yourself and your thoughts and look inward. That has been a big theme for us lately, like stillness, slowing down, tools to actually do this, and tools to change your physical state. The reason these are becoming recurring themes is because we're seeing recurring issues that require you guys to look inward. You need to take this knowledge, your action steps. You need to take this knowledge. You need to go rate this podcast 5 stars and tell a friend about it. Share us some love. Do something that helps us. And then you need to go sit with this information. Don't get right on TikTok. Don't get on your phone. Don't just start doing. Don't just start working. Stop. Slow down. Sit with all of this. Sit in the discomfort of it. Sit in the deep thought and see where it takes you.
Yeah. And on a practical level too, like, we've all had life experiences and we could talk about all of them online. So if you don't know where to start, just start talking about different things and then see what people are asking you questions about and then just dive more into that. Like, there's no right or wrong way. It's all subjective and everybody has their own journey. So, Garen, with all your different avenues and pillars, honestly, just what you might change it every 6 months or every 3 months, but just what do you want to talk about today? And show up like that. And then let every part of your experience just be part of the voice that you bring to the platform every single day.
That's really good advice. I'm taking a look real quick at some of our numbers. Guys, we still need help from you. We do this podcast for free. We pay out of our pocket, but we're still super low on reviews and ratings. So, guys, we need a little help from you, our listeners. If you love this show, if you love this podcast, if you laughed, if you learned something, if you enjoy watching, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music, we ask that you go on those platforms. And if you already have done it on one, go on a different one and share some love. Participate. All we ask is love and participation. I don't want to run ads on this show, but like, we do ask for a little bit of love and participation. That's all. I think it's a pretty easy ask. We don't waste your time with ads. We don't do anything that we don't say anything we don't stand by. Even as we evolve as people, we're just here to help you guys. So all we ask is love and participation. And that participation includes going to creationtocashflow.com, submitting your own voice note, getting an episode made for you. We do the show for you guys. So all you got to do is validate that you're enjoying it and get involved. It's a beautiful cycle as long as you take part in it. So, Michelle, is there anything else you want to say or summarize?
Nope.
This was a super fun one. Garen, I hope you enjoyed listening, and everyone else, I hope you enjoyed listening too. We love you guys, and we will see you on the next episode.